Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'd like to make this video talking about six-pack abs and some of the realistic and a realistic approach to it. Number one is, how do you get them? Well, first off, I like to say that there's a two-part answer to that. Number one, favorable genetics, and number two is sacrifice or lifestyle change. The second one is the one that's more in our control, and when I say sacrifice versus lifestyle change, that deals with how do we look at that, how do we approach getting it. Do we look at it as a half glass empty versus sacrifice, or half glass full versus lifestyle change? Now let's go back to the first one, favorable genetics. Some guys, and I wrote an article on this in On Fitness magazine, I think it was earlier this year, some guys naturally lose fat first in the abdominal area. And a great way to look at this is an analogy, and in fact this is from Tom Veneto, who has a lot of fat loss videos and books, but he talked about the depth of a pool. Basically, the deep end, the shallow end of a pool is the arms, the forearms, the calves, the legs. We start to shed fat there first. The deep end is usually like if you drain a pool, the deep end is what gets drained last. Well, the deep end for a lot of people is the abdomen, the lower abs. All right, but for some, the ones who are genetically favorable, that's not their deep end. It's actually the shallow end. Their deep end may actually be their back, or their kidney area, or their glutes, or their legs. In fact, if you see a lot of guys with six-pack, I hate seeing it in the magazine, where they have abs, and then when you look at them from the back, their back looks smooth, and it's kind of like hunched over, because all they do is crunches and push-ups, a lot of forward flexion movements, so that kind of deviates their posture. Now, whether they have pain with that or not in the future is another thing, but the point is that to me that's an absolutely flawed approach, and it's not a realistic answer to that. As a personal trainer, the way I see it is, and I struggled to come to grips with this for a while, because I was always frustrated that why can't I get six-pack abs? Well, I always had them, but I'm talking like deep six-pack abs, right? Now I have them. Now they can always get better, but they're a lot leaner than they've been, and a lot of it has been lifestyle change, okay? And the thing that worked for me was, instead of focusing on the abs, I just accepted the fact that maybe I wasn't designed to have abs all the time, you know what I mean? We're talking year-round. And I just felt it was a sacrifice to diet all the time and things like that. But what really hit home for me was a saying from a health and fitness pioneer, Jack LaLanne, your waistline is your lifeline. And so that kind of brought me back down to the foundation of what I was certified and what I learned to work as a health and fitness professional was health, focusing on health first. So my goal was to get my waist to be under control, to keep it in check, right? So that was my goal. Then along the way, started figuring things out, nutritionally, training-wise, and lo and behold, my abs every year started to get leaner and leaner and leaner. And a lot of it has been lifestyle change. That's the way I've looked at it. See, when I first started it, remember, I was struggling with this, it was a diet. And now it's not a diet. Now it's lifestyle change. And there's so many different motivations that kind of fuel that lifestyle. And a lot of it is outlook, having a better outlook, functioning better, performing better, and all those things kind of going hand in hand, and then experience. But also, I don't do a lot of crunches. A lot of my core training is actually non-moving. I do a lot of stability work, a lot of dynamic functional moves where I hold things, and planking, lots of planking. I will do crunching sometimes, but yeah, mainly I do planking. So that's kind of the approach. A realistic approach is get your waist in check first, okay? You have to look at this from layers or levels. If someone has a male has a waist that's 35 or over, you need to get that in check. I think 40 and under is a little bit too lax of a standard. So 35 and less is optimal for men. For women, I believe it's 35 and under, but ideally 32 and less. And I wrote an article on those values and standards. And so anyway, I've trained clients, and some of them, their focus is abs, and I can't really change that. That's a perceptual and psychological thing. My job is to train, so I train as best as I can. Again, it all depends on how we look at it. Okay, is it a lifestyle change or is it a sacrifice? You decide, and it has to be. The lifestyle change is so much more doable because it's not a sacrifice. It's just the way you approach it. So a realistic approach to six-pack abs is basically focusing on the fundamentals first, which is health. Is your waist in check? Is the tape measure? Is it under 35 for a man? Is it under 32 for a woman? Those things are more important. Then from there, then we can chip away and start trying to get those abs tighter. But even still, keeping the waist in check is hard enough for a lot of people. So that's what I wanted to share today. Is I wanted to talk about a realistic approach to six-pack abs. Get the waist in check first. The abs is something that's like lagniappe, or it's like the topper. It's the icing on the cake. It's the final piece to the puzzle for most. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more future videos on different topics. Thank you. Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'd like to go ahead and provide some tips as far as how to get the six-pack abs. First, I'm going to provide some tips, only because everyone is different, and to cover it all would be a lot. It's truly a science. There's no way to possibly cover it all. It's a book worth. The reason why is because there's many physical and psychological factors, and as I said, everyone's different, so it'd be really hard to see what works for one person may not work for another. But there are some common concepts that I would like to share. And the biggest thing about these tips is we keep health first. In other words, we don't sacrifice health at all. In fact, we're focusing on health first. And that's very important. And that makes it a little bit more challenging, actually, because cutting calories is easy, but we're focusing on crowding out calories. It's a different term. It means differently. But let me just say this. Here we go. The first thing is don't count calories, but make your calories count. Eat more nutrient-dense foods. What this is, this comes from the book Eat to Live by Dr. Furman. It's his approach. A quick example would be a lettuce wrap versus a tortilla wrap. Obviously, getting a lettuce wrap, if it was wrapped in a collard green or romaine wrap, you're going to save a lot of calories, and you're going to also get a lot of nutrition out of that wrap. You're going to get a lot of vitamins and antioxidants. A tortilla is nothing more than pulverized flour that's been formed. Now, I'm not. Again, like I said before, when it comes to getting the abs, you're going to have to work hard to get them. But I think the key for everyone is to lose the belly fat. So we can start there, and then whether we get the abs or not, again, it depends on how much effort you put into this. And that could be the difference, a lettuce wrap versus a tortilla wrap, those kind of things. Again, moderation is key here. You could certainly have a tortilla wrap. I'm not saying not to have it, but I'm just saying why not throw a little mix, put a little mix to it and have a romaine wrap. Try to switch it up. You end up getting leaner because of that, because there's less calories, you get more nutrition. So variety is also another factor. Go green and get lean is number 2. Eating more fruits and vegetables, particularly dark leafy greens like kale, collard greens, Swiss chard. We could put these things in smoothies. We can eat them raw. We could saute them, things like that, steam them, eat them as salads. And also root vegetables also are in that category. Sweet potatoes, beets, squashes, those are some of the best ones. And while we're on the subject of go green to get lean, let's not forget green tea. Green tea is a potent belly fat burner, and it offers cardiovascular benefits. It's a great tea. And okay, so the third thing is soups and salads. This is a prevailing theme from the book Volumetrics by Barbara Rolls. And we're talking about water-filled foods that fill your stomach, like melons, soups, smoothies. So soups and salads is key. Having a soup or a salad before a meal is going to definitely prevent you from overeating, and it'll also help you make a healthier choice, because usually when we're hungry, we don't think rationally. sometimes. So it's good to have a little soup or a salad as an appetizer. That way you can kind of like calm down that hunger, and then maybe you can, be like, wow, I'm not in the mood for that junk I was thinking about eating. Now I'm going to eat something healthier, right? So it's a strategy. It's a psychological strategy, as well as obviously it's lowering calories. The third thing is beans and skinny jeans. Beans are amazing. And when I'm talking about legumes like lentils, red beans, black beans, navy beans, split peas. Hummus is also a part of that. Hummus is in that. So bean dips, things like that. Definitely start incorporating beans. Beans will definitely help lean one out. Another thing, this is the fourth thing, digestive function. A lot of times, a lot of people underestimate this, but I call it beat the bloat. Beet, not B-E-E-T. Red beets are amazing for digestive function. And I will also say this, that when it comes to digestive function, we're thinking about detoxification. Some of the best detoxifying foods are red beets, apple cider vinegar, lemon or lime juice. And these juices are more like additives to a salad, or you can dilute it with water in small amounts. Celery is great, cucumber, parsley, flax meal, ground flax meal that is, ground chia seed, and etc. Also check for food sensitivities. There's a lot of diets out there like gluten-free and whatnot. I'm not big on the all-in and all-or-nothing approach, but certainly kind of knowing your digestion, and that's going to be from personal experience. So if someone may be lactose intolerant, they'll know that, and so they want to stay away from those things. It'll help you beat the bloat. And you learn that from process of elimination, trial and error. You cut one thing out and you see how your body responds, and if it responds better, then you know that may have been something that is affecting your digestive function. If there's no difference, then maybe there was no difference, and whatnot. Now let's get to exercise. The fifth thing is cardio. At least 4 to 7 days a week, 20 to 60 minutes. The reason why I give a range is because everyone's different, and it depends on the person, but I give you a range there. At least 2 or 3 of those days should be HIIT, high intensity interval training. And those workouts are going to be 10 to 20 minutes or so. And those can be on the same days as cardio. So you could do like a 10-minute HIIT, maybe like 10, 30-second sprints, followed by a 30-second rest, and then you do another 20 minutes of steady-state cardio. Because what matters is calories in versus out. That's a big factor. Weight training is huge. At least 2 to as many as 4 days a week. Roughly, I'd say 3 days is probably ideal. Major muscle group movements, squats. If knee's an issue, do leg press. Deadlifts. There's many different ways to do a deadlift besides a barbell. We can deadlift. We could do the motion with kettles and things like that. Bench press, that's a big one. Shoulder press, things like that. One thing I say a lot is that cardio will make you leaner, but the weights will make you firmer and more toned. So to avoid that skinny fat, that's where we bring the weights in. That'll give you that pop. That'll give you that definition we're looking for. They work together. So doing both is ideal. The seventh thing is cut out the white stuff. White bread, white rice, white potatoes. I'm not big on cutting out, but this is one we have to, because again, we're not getting any kind of nutrition out of these foods. They've been stripped of their fiber and nutrients, and they break down so rapidly in our body. And that shuts down the fat loss switch. So go with other grains, better grains, not just wheat. We're talking quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, millet, oats. Oatmeal's great. Staying hydrated is the eighth thing. That's very important. It helps the body function optimally, and it prevents hunger, pain, confusion. A lot of times we confuse thirst for hunger. So if you're ever hungry and you've been eating, maybe it's time to drink a little more water. Also, you can do the urine test. If your urine is very clear, that's good. If it's really yellow, you're dehydrated. That's a simple way to assess it. So anyhow, there's a lot more to cover. Let me see if I can go ahead and add a couple more things. Let me just go ahead and finish up this list here as far as the six-pack ab tips. Number 8 is, or number 9 I should say, healthy whole food fats like seeds, nuts, avocados, and coconut in moderation. These are better than oils. You want to get your fats from whole food sources like I just mentioned, nuts and seeds, and those are in so many different texture forms. You can get, obviously in the whole food form, you can get them in nut butters. You can get the flax meal, ground chia, there's hemp seeds. There's so many healthy fats out there. Avocados are obviously in that list. And I feel like I'm forgetting some others, but those are the top few that I certainly I'm a big proponent of. I like them. Number 10 is protein is less important than we think. Get enough, not more. In fact, an easy range without even doing it. In fact, I wrote an article on this. If you go online and put my name in, Ivan Blazquez, and you put and protein requirements, you'll find an article I wrote on bodybuilding.com. It's called Protein Requirements and Need for Reevaluation. In fact, it was protein requirements for bodybuilders. And it actually got a lot of good reviews, a lot of good comments and things like that. We overdo the protein. Here's the thing. Yes, it's the most thermogenic nutrient out of all the three, but I mean, like, that's a cop-out to me. That's just like, but you're not looking at, now we're counting calories. We're not focusing on making calories count. Remember, that was the first thing we talked about, nutrient density. Make the calories count. Make sure that the calories are filled with vitamins, minerals, and even antioxidants, things that you will not find on food labels. Various antioxidants, and there's many that we know of, and there's many that we don't know of. But those are phytonutrients, also called phytochemicals. They are very health promoting, and also in several things. They help the immunity, they help with recovery, they help with organ function. It's incredible. They fight aging. So when we think protein, I'd say go for half a gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you just take that in half, and that's going to be the protein, I guess, enough. In fact, we probably need less than that, but I'm just giving that range just to kind of be on the side of caution or peace of mind, if you will. 50 to 100 grams is probably what most people need. This whole concept of the muscle build, it's just, to me, we build muscle by protein, but again, quality, not quantity. You build muscle by lifting. You build muscle by putting that stress on the body and getting stronger. You add the protein in, but we need less. We probably don't need as much as we think. It's not just protein; it's also calories that is important. So, when it comes to this approach, it's, again, for me, and I think it's really kind of doing a favor and a service to everyone, you guys, is that I'm doing this. I'm focusing on health first. That's a prerequisite. That's non-negotiable. I focus on the health first. So, that's the way my approach is to getting six-pack abs. Is it's got to be healthy first. It's got to meet those requirements. And once it does, then, as I said, it's like a side effect. It's a bonus. Okay, you're working to get leaner and fitter and stronger, and then over time, yes, you'll see those. And there's a mindset thing with the abs too, the psychological factor. Obviously, motivation. Wanting it, like literally wanting it and willing it to happen. That is true. You've got to want it. You've got to really want it and go after it. But in an optimistic mindset, in a rational way, where it's, you want to be healthy and okay, that's your next goal. You want to get those abs right, And again, getting the abs is something that can be temporary, or it could be year-round. It's a lot harder if it's going to be year-round. So it's going to take a lot more adjustments in the lifestyle, particularly eating. But to get them for a wedding, or to get them for a spring break or the summer or beach season, that's not that hard. It just takes commitment and obviously consistency with a lot of these things that I mentioned here. But definitely the biggest thing is making sure your waist is in control. In other words, your waist is small. And again, for men, that's going to be under 35, and for women, that's going to be under 32. That's the most important thing. Filling in the blanks, in this case, filling in the waist with the abs, is should be the last thing. That is, like I said, is like the reward at the end, or the extra, the bonus check or you know, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be the foundation at all. It can be, again, if your lifestyle supports it, it can be, and it can actually be a good thing. But there's also a lot of backlash with it, because a lot of people will chase it and lose sight of what's really important, what really matters. So, what really matters is make yourself healthier, make yourself fitter, get your waist smaller, look good in clothes first. I tell this to my clients all the time. It's better looking good in clothes. When you look good in clothes, mission accomplished. I mean, that right there in itself isn't easy. And once you get to that point where you want to fit in that dress size, or you want to fit in the pant size you want, that's a great success right there. It's reasonable, it's realistic, and it's very rewarding. So focus on those things first, the foundation of fitness, health. And then if the six-pack abs become available, in terms of if they become within reach, right? Because if you keep your waist in check, if you keep yourself fit, you're going to be closer. You're going to be better off than not. So whether you go for the abs or not is really going to be the ball's going to be in your court, and you'll be a lot closer to getting to that goal if you're fitter, healthier, and if you keep your waist under control. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this was of use and insightful to you. Thank you.